Looks like things are getting worse for Erika Kirk. The more you try to bury stories, the more you try to bury the investigation onto your husband's death and tell Candace Owens to shut up because she's bringing up, interesting points that are worth speculating, that are worth investigating, that are worth bringing attention to, the more it actually reveals about yourself and more details are emerging about who Erika Kirk truly is. We know that she is a manipulative liar. We know that, a grieving widow that said she wanted, to reflect, that she wanted time to, deal with the traumatics. We gave her time. I didn't at first say anything about Erika Kirk because honestly, I didn't know anything about her. I just, knew Charlie's wife. And I thought, she was grieving. So I'm just not going to say anything about it. But when you go out to do a book tour, when you go out purposely in the public spotlight, when you now assume a position of the CEO of Turning Point USA, that Turning Point USA also needs to be highly investigated, needs to be looked at in a microscope lens because of how much just corruption, money laundering, just how lying they are, how they're trying to deceive and dismiss their own audience in covering up Charlie Kirk's death. All of this needs to be highlighted. And when people are, because the FBI has completely botched the investigation, not being told the proper story behind Charlie Kirk and not being told, manufacturing a story about a lunatic lefty who somehow had a trans lover and none of that ever made sense. People are going to start speculating for themselves. They're going to start investigating. They're going to start looking into more and more information, and they're going to bring attention to a lot of interesting notes that someone like Erika Kirk never bring up. Like this guy Hustle Bitch that says, "Holy S, it keeps getting worse. A buried CIA video just surfaced and Erika Kirk is in it." Doesn't surprise me. It honestly doesn't surprise me, given the kind of low-key highlights that we're getting about her shady past, how this apparently simple person in New York that happened to meet Charlie Kirk for a business opportunity that turned into love, and that's how they got together. There's a lot of shady stuff that's not being revealed with Erika Kirk. And she's trying to stamp it down. She went on to, CBS. She did that town hall with Barry Weiss and cried on cue about how she's a simple Christian girl. And failed to completely mention that, oh, by the way, I was a model. I participated in the Miss Universe pageants. I was Miss Arizona. I have connections with intelligence operations. I have connections. My family does. How she's even in New York. She never mentions about that. But so this surfaced, and it says a 10-year-old documentary about EMP attacks and U.S. power grid vulnerability has quietly surfaced, and buried inside is Erika Kirk. She's not observing. She's not a host. She's in a role most civilians never get near, briefing national security professionals alongside a former CIA national security and energy specialist on how an EMP or coordinated physical attack could collapse the U.S. power grid. Does she do it with fireworks? Does she go out in a sequence dress and light up fireworks, like she did for her husband's funeral? Because that's not crazy. That's not deranged. I'm a grieving widow that just lost the love of my life, the father of my children, in broad daylight when people were witnessing it. So, of course, at his funeral, I'm going to light up some fireworks. I'm going to dance around. I'm going to sell t-shirts. That's not suspicious. That's not cringeworthy and chaotic. Or having your dead husband's tent at AmFest. Your dead husband's tent was at AmFest that people were taking selfies under. Yeah, that's not deranged. Sure, that's normal behavior. What do I know? I'm not a psychiatrist. She's in a most role. Okay, so I already read that. This isn't casual footage. It's technical. It's inside baseball. And it's the exact kind of material most people never get to hear, let alone present, which raises some vulnerable, very uncomfortable questions. Why was she in that role? What qualified her to brief on national security threats? Who brought her into that room? And why is none of it explained? Back then, this clip passed quietly. Today, with everything surrounding her, it hits very differently. At what points do coincidence stop being coincidence? So we're going to show a bit of the clip here. There's her right there. And well, let's see for ourselves.
We have 5 major threats that make our grid extremely vulnerable that we've presented to congressional officials. 1 being cyber, 2 being hackers, 3 being physical threats, 4th one is solar EMP, and the 5th one is man-made EMP. So the concern that we have is that we put out this critical information, and when we go over this risk analysis, they hear what we're saying, but they don't want to take action.
Well, there are 18.
I love her acting ability. She's bringing out the classic take of hers, you know, the Lord is always with you, and the Lord's going to track you down. Remember that stare she gave during those public interviews? You're supposed to be grieving. You're supposed to be caring for your kids. You're supposed to be running this company that now you're the CEO of and clearly have no idea how to run it. But no, you're doing TV interviews staring down people. How dare you question things? The Lord is going to get you. My Lord. Because my God is a bigger dick than your God. A George Carlin joke, but anyway, you get the point.
Analysis. They hear what we're saying, but they don't want to take action.
Well, there are 18 critical infrastructures in the United States: food, water, transportation, communication.
So this guy here is the former head of the CIA that Erika Kirk's participating in. You don't think this is concerning? You don't think this is up for question? That you're doing a video, a documentary about powerful attacks that could take out the U.S. energy grid with former CIA officials, former heads of the CIA. Okay.
Food.
Still gonna sell the idea that she's a lonely Christian mother now. She just happened to be in the Lord's wake of meeting Charlie Kirk that day in New York that we're supposed to just have a business meeting, but then I fell in love with him. Okay.
Water, transportation, communications, etc. All 17 of the others depend on electricity.
If our grid goes down, you can't cook, you're not going to heat anything, you can't run any of your medical supplies, you can't talk on your phone, you can't take money out of a bank, and we turn into total chaos.
If this happens, the system stops.
If a transformer is taken down, we have to order it from Germany or China. It's going to take a year.
Up till recently, there were no comprehensive protective solutions available.
We know what the solutions are. They're not expensive. They're not difficult to employ. We just need the political will to do it and the follow-through on the part of the electric utilities to get it done.
The White House is protected from an EMP. The Congress and the CIA and the NSA, all of the areas that need to function in the government are protected. So why can't we be protected?
Around some of these facilities, you don't have much more than a chain link fence to keep people out. Now that seems absurd to me.
I think it is absurd when we now know that attack on as few as 9 grid substations could bring down all 3 major interconnections for the United States grid.
If the power goes out, you get the generator, and if that goes out, you get another one. There's never been a plan for what happens after that.
The director of the National Security Agency, Admiral Rogers, came out and said it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
So that is very interesting, folks. So here, this is the documentary, by the way, called Black Start. And the reason it's called that, it's a technical term for when a power system goes down and you are not getting electricity from somewhere else to restart the grid. That's what they call a black start. So you're starting with nothing and you're not bringing in energy elsewhere. You're just starting from complete nothing. That's what they consider a black start. This is very interesting to know that Erika Kirk appeared in it. Now, I wouldn't say that this is like a CIA propaganda piece. It's not like a puff piece about like Iran going to attack our energy system. It's not like doing kind of propaganda work like that. But it's also not it's not a non-profit organization that's like informing people about how to prepare for this. You know what I mean? Like it's not either or. And the fact that a person like Erika Kirk, of all people, and I don't know if it's because they just need an actress to do this dramatization, but they don't even say in the documentary it's a dramatization. They don't even really acknowledge who this person is. She didn't have a lower third next to her name. Why would she be part of this? Why would she be part of something that they're interviewing former heads of the CIA about EMPs, about electrical systems? Like, does she know about this? As far as I know, she's just the humble, Christian woman that, became Miss Arizona, did some modeling, and she met the love of her life. That's it. End of story. Don't look into her past. Shut up about things. Don't ask questions. Because the Lord's going to take on you. She's going to give you that stare. Same stare we just saw in the video. That's her performative. That's her performance right there. She gives people the stare down of, we're going to take you on. Because that's what a compassionate Christian does, right? They stare you down. They give you vague threats. If you question things or curious about certain aspects, like who the hell you are, we don't really know anything about Erika Kirk. You really never knew about Erika Kirk. Then again, I really didn't know anything about Charlie Kirk, other than the fact that he was a guy running this organization and went to college campuses and debated people, which that's fine. That's fine. I'm open for, debates and conversation, and Charlie was an advocate for free speech. So am I. Like, that's something we agree on. I think that's a common principle that most people agree on, but no one really knew about Erika Kirk, other than the fact that she is just the wife of Charlie. That's all we're told. That's all we're allowed to know. But as we're getting more and more details, as she's becoming more and more public, like I said, I wouldn't have said anything. About Erika Kirk. Hadn't been the fact that she's openly doing television appearances, if she wasn't openly doing a book tour, if she wasn't openly selling merchandise off the death of her husband. Like, who does that? Who in their right mind would sell off and profit from the horrendous death of your loved one? Who in their right mind would do this? So now I'd say it's fair game. Because Erika Kirk brought it onto herself. She could have remained in grief. She could have been in mourning, and we could respect that and tolerate that. But she brought it on herself to make, herself public. So if you're going to become a public figure and you're going to become the new head of Turning Point USA and, showcase yourself in a sequence gown and fireworks and have all these influential people, then people have the right to know who you are. They have every right to know who this person is. And clearly, there is a dark, shady past with Erika Kirk. that makes me start to point the pieces together on the possibility that that could be a bit of a lineup into the assassination of her husband. I'm not saying that's definite. I'm not saying that that's exactly the case, but I'm saying that with all the mishandling, with all the misinformation, with everything that they've tried to cover up and shut people down and try to attack Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly and other people for simply just asking questions, which is what Charlie Kirk said. If we don't ask questions, that's doomsday. That's the end of society. If we can't ask questions, there's no point to being around. The more they keep trying to cover this up, the more it's exposing them. TPUSA has already been exposed. Erika Kirk is being exposed. So for them to keep doing this and harping and telling people to shut up, trying to demonize more of Candace Owens, all that does is reveal more about you. It reveals more about people like you who've covered up their identity for such a long time. Now you're making yourself public and known. People have the right to know. So this guy, Sword Truth, says breaking more evidence that Erika Kirk's history and socials have been completely scrubbed for reputation management. So while she continues to go on stage for a bedazzling light show, going on stage with Nicki Minaj and interviewing her about, Christianity and good morals and ethics, let me just to remind people that she was a model. She dressed provocatively. And I'm not saying that's, bad or anything. Like, you're allowed to, as an adult, like, if that was your career path and you change, like, I don't think there's anything, majorly wrong with that. But you should at least acknowledge that. You should at least acknowledge your past, or just say that, this was my formative years, that back then, I didn't know any better, but now I know better. That you could have easily said that. But they're purposely misinforming, they're purposely scrubbing, they're purposely undermining their own audience, the people at Turning Point USA, who they've even turned against the organization. You see a lot of the Turning Point USA attendees, demanding answers from their panelists, from their guests, from Erika Kirk, from Ben Shapiro. And the more they just cover this up, the more it's exposing Erika. And we don't even have to have this conversation if she didn't make herself public. She didn't do the book tour. If she didn't sell merchandise at her husband's funeral and make a stage show about it, we could have just easily ignored this. But here is a video of them deliberately altering the narrative and trying to scrub away Erika Kirk's past before people find out who she truly is. Watch this. There's Instagram. There's her as a model. So I just want to stop here and read that. I'm assuming that's a tweet there on the left there. Because imagine a man so focused that the only reason he, I guess, loves you, is that supposed, I don't know, it's cut off at there. See you in is because something that's her. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is because it's cut off there. But if anyone knows what that tweet is, if they can still find that tweet, let comment on it. Comment on this video. Let me know what that says, because those are the tweets. Those are the images. Again, they're trying to manipulate you, trying to cover up her past, her shady past that now is being more and more revealed. because of this shenanigans of trying to build, AstroTurf, Turning Point USA, make Erika Kirk this, devoted Christian, and they're trying to AstroTurf the whole organization in favor of the Zionists, in favor of the deep state, in favor of the things that, Charlie Kirk was catching up on, hence why he stated right before he died that these Jewish donors are problematic. So, yes, those are questions to be brought to attention when investigating the murder of someone who brings that to attention. That's common sense for people. That's common sense. That's not Candace Owens' conspiracy. That's not her being, anti-American or paid by Cotter, whatever garbage that gets thrown at to people. That's just common sense. Someone says that, they die, you should maybe look into that. You should maybe look into what they said prior to their death. Just saying. Here's another one. So, again, they tried to picture Erika Kirk as this good, little Christian girl with good morals and values. Did you know that Erika Kirk was on a dating show? Erika Kirk was on a dating show in New York. And she said to Barry Weiss in that town hall that she never drinks. That was a lie. That was a lie. Because people have pointed out Erika Kirk is rigged. She's a fake actress. Here she is in Summer House, a reality show that young people living in New York City and spending weekends and summer in the Hamptons before they cast her as Freemason's Charlie Kirk's wife on the world stage. So she was in a reality show, a dating show, and she's dancing around a nightclub having cocktails. Let's take a look.
Yeah, thank you. Remember, the blonde is Erika. The brunette, Cindy.
Just speed this up a bit.
Jordan's probably a virgin, so I'm setting her up with my friend Erika. She's beautiful, and she happens to be religious. Oh, they are.
That's her.
Jordan, if you don't take this to the next level, God help you. Oh. This was ridiculous. Okay, that's good. Beautiful blonde hair, her smile, her radiance. I can tell that she's got not only outward beauty, but inward beauty, and that's what I'm looking for in a woman. So, how do you two ladies know each other?
We were in the together. Oh, cool. So she was Arizona and I was in Arizona.
Congrats.
I have to tell you something.
What's going on?
You and I matched on Bumble like a year ago. Yeah, you never went anywhere. So I said, hey, and Jordan goes, hey, Sydney, glad we met.
It was me being genuine.
I said, me too. It's probably days. Did we do anything fun last night?
Ghost. Congratulations. It's delivered. You're in. I think I was going through a phase in my life where I was like, I want to meet somebody in real life. I want to meet somebody with the same beliefs. I'm like a really big Christian. I'm like...
So you wouldn't meet her at church or anything?
There's Erika Kirk on a dating reality show with two gentlemen. I'm assuming one of her best friends or whatever. Drinking. Having a good time. Nothing wrong with that. But then why would she go on television after the passing of her husband and lie right to people's faces that she never drinks? That trying to scrub this past life. Again, there's nothing wrong with this. You could just say, this was my past. I have now changed my ways. I have now become, this devoted, Christian conservative that is now in charge of Turning Point USA. You could have easily stated that, but she completely lied to you. Completely lied to you. Why would you lie about something like this? Why would you try to cover this up? I don't think people are going to matter. I don't think people are going to freak out that once upon a time you were just having a good time in New York. You were young, you were, in your way. And you changed your life around. That would actually be more inspiring, wouldn't you think? But no, she went on to CBS News with Barry Weiss and lied directly to people. Lied directly to the people, to the viewers, to the audience, to the few people that actually watched the town hall. It was on a Saturday night of all days. That's hilarious. But she lied. Why would you lie about drinking? Why would you try to deliberately cover up stuff like this? Unless there's some even more crazy stuff that people are now exposing that you don't want revealed. I don't know, something like this. And I've heard this story before. I don't know exactly how accurate it is, but again, if Erika Kirk can be lying about her past and doing deliberate snubbing, scrubbing the entire internet of everything before she met Charlie Kirk and trying to manufacture and astroturf this narrative that she's just this honest, innocent Christian girl, doesn't surprise me if something like this happened. Was Erika Kirk's Romanian Angels ministry accused of child trafficking? Here's the truth on the new TPUSA CEO. After Erika Kirk became the CEO, her past with the Romanian Angels charity resurfaced. Trafficking claims circulate online but lack credible evidence. That's from the Hindustan Times. And again, I can't confirm that myself because I haven't dove into to prove that argument. But it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me, given the details of how much they've been trying to cover up her past. And I just don't understand. I don't understand why they're doing this. Because the more they keep doing it, the more people are going to look at that, the more they're exposing themselves, and people are able to go on the internet and search up her history anyway. They're able to find all of her past. That's why they're able to find that CIA video. That's why they're able to find her on the reality show. So what purpose do you have to do this other than just exposing yourself as frauds? Which I have to go in that direction because you made yourself open. You made yourself a target now because of this book tour, because you went on television. You're doing appearances left, right, and center, trying to demonize people like Candace Owens, who are simply just trying to figure out who exactly killed your husband. I mean, it's amazing that you forgave the so-called leftist lunatic that supposedly gunned down your husband, according to the phony FBI story. But you don't forgive Candace Owens. You don't forgive Tucker Carlson. You don't forgive people like me who saw the assassination in real time on social media in 4K that are concerned about this. Like, I'm more concerned about what happened to Charlie Kirk than his own wife. That just seems crazy to me. So it wouldn't surprise me if a story like this came out to be true. Or this. I mean, we saw what happened with Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry. Just saying. You know, strange connections can make weird bedfellows. That's what they say. Tom Brady and Erika Kirk are reportedly dating. And someone told me that Tom Brady, you know, again, another person that you don't really know much about. Obviously, famous football player, New England Patriots, massive, Super Bowl winner, everybody knows about that. Even with the Tom Brady roast that they did on Netflix, that was the most focus on that. They focused on that and the marriage that fell apart between him and Giselle. I think that's her name, right? Giselle, whatever. But do we know about Tom Brady's past? Do we know about where he was raised? Do we know about like that kind of history or where he started to play football? Again, these are all, it really is just kind of crazy when, you think you know someone when really you don't actually. Like, people just assume that, oh, well, it's Erika Kirk. Obviously, people know who Erika Kirk is. You? Do you know exactly where she grew up or how she, met Charlie Kirk. She gave her story, but is that the actual story? Because how does it make sense that, she was in New York for a business meeting and just happened to meet Charlie Kirk? And that's how they got together and fell in love. That exactly how it happened? Because according to, the internet sleuths that are digging around because you're not explaining yourself or you're trying to deceitfully hide yourself from people, which doesn't make sense to me. It proves otherwise. So I don't understand why there's so much emphasis on trying to shut people down for asking simple questions. And the fact that Erika Kirk, who's now made herself public, is trying to deceive people, lie to people, and cover up her shady past, when all that's doing is further exposing the demise of her and Turning Point USA. And people have been starting to catch on. And that's why more and more attendees, you saw, people at the AmFest there that were throwing shade at people like Ben Shapiro. And they were throwing shade at other people. Like, why is Turning Point USA featuring Nicki Minaj when Charlie Kirk himself was against Nicki Minaj? You know what I mean? Like, it seems baffling. Why would you invite someone that your husband, who founded this organization, was deeply against? He said it was bad for black women. Said it was a bad influence for children. Look at Nicki Minaj. Now you bring her on stage because, she miraculously is a Christian too. Who would have thunk it? So, I don't know what to say other than that's pretty interesting. And, Erika Kirk's not doing well. Not making that pretty picture. It's not selling the idea that she's just an innocent woman. Good-hearted Christian that just wanted to raise a family, just met the love of her life, and this lefty lunatic just, killed him off. And I'm just the innocent one. It's all these people that are making assumptions and questions and, investigating this assassination. They're the ones at fault. You better believe it, or God will come after you. I can't do the Erika stare. Like the Stanley Kubrick stare does.